Let me tell you about Mike. Mike could weld anything. Didn't matter how complex the joint, how tight the tolerance, or how difficult the material. With 22 years of experience, those hands, they just knew. And when the shop foreman retired, the decision felt obvious. Mike was the best at the work. He knew the job, and he had the respect of the crews. But 6 months later, two of his best guys put in their notice. A third was on a performance plan. And Mike, the dude that never took a day off in 22 years, started calling sick on Mondays. The company didn't just lose a foreman. They lost a great welder and gained a struggling manager. But nobody saw it coming because nobody asked the right questions before the promotion. And this is one of the most expensive mistakes made in American business, and it happens every single day. I want to be clear. Mike is not the problem in this story. Mike's not the villain. The problem is the system. It's the system that equates technical excellence to leadership readiness. These are two completely different skills. Being great at the work requires precision, individual focus, personal accountability, and technical problem-solving skills. But leading others through the work requires patience with people's mistakes, the ability to communicate, emotional regulation, and the willingness to let someone do something worse than you would do it yourself. That's how people grow. And the last one's a killer. For someone like Mike, watching a junior welder make a mistake that he could fix in 30 seconds and having to coach him through fixing it feels physically painful. It goes against every instinct that made him great. And the worst part, nobody told him that was coming. Nobody prepared him for that identity shift. One day he's the guy with all the answers. The next day his job was to ask all the questions. The LinkedIn data on this is crazy. Managers are consistently posting about, I don't know how to lead. I only know how to do X. And there's thousands of comments from people just like them that felt the same way. Just no one ever had a name for it. Here's what I tell every organization I work with. Your promotion process is either your greatest talent development tool or your greatest talent destruction tool. There's no middle ground here. The companies that do this right do two things differently. First, they separate the promotional decision from the development decision. They don't wait until someone's promoted to start developing them as a leader. They identify the potential early on and start building those skills before the title changes. So when the promotion happens, that person isn't starting from zero. They've been practicing. Second, they redefine what best means at each level. The best technician isn't automatically the best candidate for the leader. The best lead can be the person who can do the technical work and has demonstrated the ability to bring others along. Those can be two different people. And sometimes the best technician is actually better served and happier staying in a senior level role where they can contribute with the recognition and the compensation that reflects their value. I've watched companies create master technician tracks for senior individual contributor paths with real pay and real status, and it has changed everything. Because suddenly the best people had a path that didn't require them to be something that they're not. Mike didn't need to be a foreman. He needed to be a master welder with the title, the pay, and the respect that came with it. And the company needed a different person to be the foreman. Nobody figured that out until it was too late. So how do you have an impact here? Before your next promotion decision, run every candidate through a filter. Here's 5 questions that could potentially save you 6 months of pain. Question 1. When someone on your team makes a mistake, what's your first instinct? You're listening for, do they fix it themselves? Or do they want to help that person learn? Both are valid, but only one shows the skill set of a leader. Question 2. Tell me about the time you had to explain something to someone that wasn't getting it. What did you do? Look for patience, adaptability, and whether or not they blame that person for not understanding. Question 3. What do you think the hardest part of being a lead is? If they say dealing with people problems, that's a red flag. Leading is dealing with people problems, but if they can't see that as part of the job, they're not ready. Question 4. If you could change one thing about how this team operates, what would it be? You're listening for systems. Can they see the team as a whole or only their piece of it? And question 5, What would you need to feel supported in this leadership role? This one tells you if their self-awareness is on. The best candidate knows what they don't know, but the ones who say nothing, I'm ready, those are the ones that aren't actually ready. 5 questions, run every candidate through this, and save yourself 6 months of pain. So here's your challenge this week. Look at your current team, identify one person that you believe has leadership potential and you haven't formally recognized it. Not your best performer, your most leadership ready person. They may or may not be the same person, but go and have a 15-minute conversation with them and tell them that you see potential in them. Ask them if they're interested in developing that potential and get ready with that first leadership readiness question. When someone on your team makes a mistake, what's your first instinct? Listen to the answer. You might be surprised at who you've been overlooking. My name's Josh. This is Limitless, and we cannot wait to see what y'all do next.